So you want to become a back-end web developer, but you don't know where to start. Don't worry, got you covered. I got a complete roadmap for back-end web development just for you. This roadmap will guide you through the technical skills and the technology needed to build and maintain server-side web applications. So let's get started with the roadmap. So before you get into anything else, you should start understanding the basics of web development. What are that? Well, you should get started with client-side architecture, where you should learn how the web applications work, including the role of the client, the front end, and the server, which is the back end. Next, you should learn about HTTPS protocols, understand how HTTPS works, including methods like GET requests, POST requests, PUT requests, delete requests, and status code. After that, learn the backend programming languages of your choice. You can try out all of them if you want, although there are a bunch, I must warn you. So let's just get started with the most popular. One of them is, of course, Python, also now extremely used for AI development or large language models. Now, in combination with Django and Flask, Python can be great for beginners with a strong community and a easy to read syntax. Next, you could try JavaScript. One of my favorites, I must add. JavaScript, of course, Node.js. You cannot do JavaScript without Node.js, not even in the front end. Though you have to know just a minimal amount of Node.js in the front end. But combined with Express, Node.js and JavaScript, basically, because Node.js is JavaScript, but it's running on the backend side in the engine of the browser. It is most popular for full-stack web development, especially with frameworks, as I said, like Express. Next up, let's turn to Java. So not JavaScript, just simple Java. It's also extremely old, but a really robust language. This combined with Spring Boot are a perfect match. And Java is mostly an enterprise level language, widely used in larger scale applications. So just keep that in mind if you start learning Java. Next will be Ruby, and combined with Ruby on Rails, of course. Now, enterprise level languages like Java are extremely good, but also Ruby, known for its simplicity and convention over configuration. Last but not least, the web favorite, PHP, and combined with Laravel, commonly used for web development, especially with content management systems like WordPress. My website is still on WordPress. Why? Because it's just great. Although I have built millions and millions of websites. Although I have already built thousands of websites, I'm still living on WordPress using PHP. So about the language fundamentals here, just master the syntax, data structure, and core concepts of your chosen language. You don't have to get into the depths of it. Just practice writing clean code, modular, and of course, efficient code at the end of the day. Also learn a bit of refactoring. After you're done with the code, just refactor everything and you're good to go. Okay, so let's move on to databases. Now for databases, you have two choices. You have SQL and non-SQL databases. First, let's start with SQL. I'm not going to go to depth of them. I'm going to release a backend course and you can learn everything about that in there. This is just a small roadmap in order for you to know what's expecting you. So SQL, you would most likely learn with MySQL, also PostgreSQL. Here you need to understand database design, normalization, relationships, also known as one-to-one, one-to-many. You need to practice writing a bunch of queries, joins, and managing transactions. Now, when it comes to NoSQL databases, you are just two perfect choices, either MongoDB or Cassandra. I mostly use MongoDB. I'm familiar with Cassandra, but I will stick with MongoDB. MongoDB is excellent, especially when you're building like MERN applications, the MERN stack. So when it comes to non-SQL databases, one of the most principal ideas here would be to learn when to use non-SQL and to use SQL databases. Now, when it comes to the code itself, just practice writing CRUD applications and indexing non-SQL database. Next fun part is RESTful APIs. Now, there are two things that you should know here. The REST API basics, understand REST principles and how to design RESTful APIs. Learn how to handle requests and responses, including JSON files. We're actually doing a project right now. The project is going to come out after this video. It's going to be a pretty cool project using Node.js, JavaScript, RESTful APIs, JSON, using fetch requests, using HTTP, put, get, delete, and so on. So our request, we're going to create a database, a local database, and we're going to manipulate it using also Postman, the middleware there that is communicating between the backend and the inputs of the user. So as I said, understand REST principles, learn how to handle requests, and implement CRUD operations through RESTful APIs. Next, you should also learn API authentication. Learn about authentication methods like JWT, JSON Web Token, OAuth, and API keys. Next, you should move on to understand server and deployment. Now, when it comes to understanding server and hosting, actually, you should learn about how web servers like Apache and their configurations work. Understand the basics of DNS, SSL, and TLS, and domain management. Okay, now to deployment. Learn how to deploy web applications. This is such a simple thing. To platforms like AWS, Heroku, DigitalOcean. Also, you need to understand continuous integration and continuous deployment, CI and CD pipelines. One last thing, you should definitely learn about containerization and virtualization. Things like Docker will teach you that and how to containerize your application, and understand the basics of Kubernetes for managing containerized applications. So having all that done, next up you should learn authentication and security. Learn how to implement user authentication and authorization. Understand essential management and cookies. For web security basics, you should learn about the common security threats like SQL injections, XSS cross-site scripting, and CSRF cross-site request forgery. These are extremely powerful. Implement best practices for security web applications such as HTTPS, data validations, and of course, password hosting. Now, if you want to get into more advanced stuff, advanced backend concept, these are just some of them. Caching, message brokers, and of course GraphQL, which is optional. Now, when we talk about caching, we actually want you to when you're learning caching, you will learn about caching strategies to optimize performance like Redis and Memcached. Understand when and how use caching in your applications. Learn about message brokers, quotes, and brokers like RabbitMQ, Kafka, or AWS SQS, and understand their role in microservices and handling asynchronous tasks. So next, we're going to come to just do stuff. For example, start building real-life projects. For project ideas, I'm just going to say build a simple CRUD application. This is create, read, update, and delete. Just like we're going to do in the next video when we're going to create a couple of HTTP requests. Simple as that. We're going to implement Express, bring it into a server, create a server, and for that, or for example, create a e-commerce backend with product management, user role, and payment integration. You can also try to develop a social media API with user posts, comments, likes, and notifications, of course. You can also then go further into testing and debugging, learn about unit testing, integration testing, and test-driven development, TDD, and practice debugging techniques and tools. Next, you should also learn with version control, learn how Git works, GitHub works. This is for front-end and back-end web development. It's basically the same. We already did a video with a front-end roadmap. Definitely check that one out. But Git and GitHub are just something. Also, you can try GitLab. I don't care. Now, there's also a couple of soft skills and continuous learning that you need to keep in mind here. So problem solving and debugging. Develop a strong problem solving skills to tackle complex issues. Communication and collaboration is just a must, especially when you're working in backend. Learn to communicate effectively with team members and contribute to the code review. And don't forget to continue learning, just as I am doing each and every day. Stay up to date with the latest trends and the best practices for backend development. Explore cloud services, DevOps, and advanced database management as you progress. Okay, now when applying for a job, so backend is much more job driven than a freelancer. So just create a good portfolio, do a couple of projects, understand those projects, know their insides and outsides, collaborate, and also work with open source code, contribute to open source code. That's the best thing that you can do. And then for job search, remember that I told you these factors right here: Python, JavaScript, Java, Ruby, PHP. Exactly as I did my front-end roadmap, I'm going to do the same thing here in my back-end roadmap. If you know what is required in your region, learn that. If you want to move, then learn what you love and just move to where you can practice what you love. Simple as that. Okay, boys and girls, that's it for the roadmap. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click that notification bell in order to get notified when I post new videos just like this. My name is Norbert BM, and I teach web development. Take care. Bye-bye.